know you're so in tune, like with all the energies, with your angels, with your guides. Like, tell us what's going on this planet right now.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot going on, and it feels really intense. It feels the energy around us feels dense, but it's actually really positive. It's all part of ascension, and it's all part of us being upgraded. Um, so our instinct is to fight it, to
Mm.
go into what I call, we contract, we sort of close off because it's uncomfortable. So our chakras sort of tend to close off, and our field closes off. And in doing so, we make it a bit worse. We just need to allow it to happen and expand and trust that it's for our highest good. It's really part of this ascension process. There's a lot of light coming into our planet that is coming in to show us our shadow. And that's why we feel uncomfortable. But it is for a greater good, because in the ascension process, there's certain places that we don't get to go to if we bring a lot of baggage. Right. So to reach a certain place in our upgrade and in our evolution, we need to let go of a lot of our shadow, a lot of our wounding, a lot of our blocks. So this is happening for us, and it is uncomfortable, but it's almost like contractions, when you're in labor and to birth something that is going to be beautiful. But now we are in that stage of the labor where we just had enough.
I know,
And soon
right?
things
And
will
it's like
improve.
physical. It's actually almost like it's not even just emotional, I
Mhm.
guess being emotionally uncomfortable, but it's the physical. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I was
Yeah.
in so much pain. It was darkness, it was a lot of pain, but I mean, what you're saying makes sense because as identities, our vibration rises, like our soul becomes freer, right? So it's a lot lighter, but yet our physical bodies are just so overloaded with all the baggage, a lot of bullshit, a lot of conditioning and beliefs. So I think like it's like a big purge that's happening right
Yeah.
now. Would that be right to say?
Yeah. Yeah, and also our DNA, our physical body is upgrading too much, right? And that is what we feel sometimes. It's a whole body, emotional, mental, physical bodies that is all getting upgraded. So absolutely, our physical bodies are feeling it too.
And I mean, for me, let us also share with us, how you've been feeling the last 2 weeks. But basically, about a month ago, I really noticed that effort just does not work anymore. I've been noticing it's been a gradual build-up, probably over the last year. But in the last month, it's like no matter what I do, unless it comes to me, it like just appears in my life. It just doesn't work. Okay, and I'm specifically talking about business. So, and I just felt this real pull to get off social media, to stop posting. And I actually promised myself I will never share another post until I really feel inspired, until there's like some almost like divine guidance that goes through me. And I feel so excited, so lit up, because most of the time, I mean, I have learned not to push and work with my human design and my sacral, but there was still element of control, an element of attachment. So, and it was hard. My ego was like talking to me the whole time, but how are you going to, get the clients? How are you going to pay the bill? How's your business going to run if you're not showing up? And I was like, I have to trust it now. And as I said, on the second day, that purge was unbearable. I mean, I just wanted to stay in bed. I couldn't find place in my house. I couldn't find place outside my house. I didn't know what to do with myself. It was surreal.
Yeah, well, upgrading. There's a lot to be said around that. It's a huge topic. Absolutely, I feel that effort doesn't work. Once you reach a certain level in your consciousness and in your growth, personal growth, effort is just not. It's all about, and I don't like the buzzwords, the spiritual buzzwords. I try not to use them, but in this case, alignment just fits because really it has to come from your soul. It has to be from your heart. There's no there's still room for strategy, there's still room for metrics, but in a very different way. It has to be done from within. the idea has to be because you absolutely want to do something. So if you're putting an offer out there, if you are coming up with a new program or a new business, it really has to be because it lights you up. There's no room for just doing things for the money or for, I don't know, to show up on social media for the sake of it. If people are going to feel it, whether they know they are feeling it or not, is this new way of the new human, I like to call it, this new way of being a human in this planet right now is all about the heart. It's all about the soul. And so anytime I find it in myself that I'm not operating from that place, I just get the message. It comes right back at me. That wasn't aligned. That wasn't incoherent with yourself. That wasn't genuine. And it comes back. I can just feel that it doesn't work. It's just, yeah, you can't fake it anymore. It's time to
And it's
show up
instant,
very
right? There is no
authentically.
delay. There's no delay anymore. So if you like do something that it's not your highest, it comes back to you straight away. I mean, for me, my jaw
Yeah.
starts tightening up, like straight away, my jaw and my like back of my head. And before I thought it's stress, I've got to stretch it. Now I'm like, what am I not listening? You know? And then straight away, right? You wrote, even like last night, I was writing an article for a magazine. And towards the end, I felt there was like pushing because I was late, I was tired, I wanted to get it out. And I was like, whoa, hang on a second. I'm switching back to my old program, you know? So what can I actually do instead
Yeah.
to raise my energy and really then come back and actually serve rather than push it?
And you will find, though, that if you give yourself space to not do something when you don't feel like doing it, if you actually allow yourself to say, no, not today, not today, then when you actually have that download or inspiration or moment of creativity, whatever you want to call it, but that moment where it's from within, when you're inspired, what you'll find is that you get so much more done on that day when you are in that flow and things just happen effortlessly. So maybe you didn't work for a few hours on Monday, but on Tuesday, when you're actually feeling it, you get so much more done. You make up for that time and more. And it's a different way of being because it's not linear. So it's very tricky for our ego mind because we always want to, clock in the hours and do the work and every day has to be the same. Our mind is so programmed to like that consistency and to look for it. But it just doesn't work anymore. So we really, really need to give ourselves space to go with it.
So then talk to me also about avoidance versus like real listening. Do you know what I mean? Because for a long time, I think I've struggled, and even still, I struggle with like, am I just being lazy? Am I just not in the mood? Or am I like truly like listening to my soul? You know, and I've learned to I'm getting a little better, but it's like being training myself. And I know a lot of people out there, they're like, well, how do I know I'm just being lazy, unproductive, overwhelmed, procrastinating, or am I really, really need this rest? Like, what's the balance there?
To me, it comes down to just allowing that space. As I said before, just sit with it and just really feel into what's coming back for me. So I start asking myself questions, and also not make it wrong to be lazy. Not that you want to be lazy every day, but sometimes the body is going through so much. As we said before, we are upgrading on every level, and sometimes our bodies just need to do nothing. And it's counterintuitive because, of course, we need to pay bills and we need to work, and we also want to be serving and doing things for others. But I've noticed in the past couple of months that my physical body some days just needs a lot more rest because of all the upgrades, because of all the energies, and you just need to allow it. So on those days that maybe I don't feel like showing up on social media, even you see it on my face, no one wants to look at me when I look like that. But maybe in those days I just do a different creative process. I just maybe sit there and write ideas. Don't do so much work, but maybe I just get on the space of meditating more, asking questions for myself, really what's going on here? Why am I feeling this way? Is it really my body? And if it's yes, it's the body and wants to rest, then I just come down maybe with other ways, other things that I can do, and allow my mind to then do more work and not so much sitting in front of the computer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. And I also found, because I've always been a big doer my whole life. So it's like the more I do, the more productive I am, right? Because I mean, that's coming from the corporate backgrounds, where, you had to show up a certain way, you had to work X amount of hours to be noticed, to be recognized, to get the promotion. And of course, that mentality, it's a structure you've built, physical, energetic, psychological structure that you then kind of moved into business. Except then what happened, you embarked on this journey of spiritual growth and development. So your consciousness started elevating and expanding and almost like graduating to the next level, like let's say it went to college or university, while the rest of you was still like, I don't know, in high school, maybe even like primary school. And that's that bridge, I mean, that gap that I've been suffering with, I mean, struggling to bridge that gap between them, because there's my body was like, do more, think harder, think harder. And my soul is like, stop, pause. Yeah. And, it took me a really long time to listen to it. I was dismissing it. And even after 3 burnouts, I still wasn't listening. And then when I had COVID, when I was literally confined to bed for weeks, that's when I was like, there was nothing I could do. And something magical actually started happening, because I wasn't doing anything, but I just remember so many opportunities started coming up, and I couldn't even respond to them. I just look at my laptop, I'm like, I can't even type. So, but then of course, once I got better, I was like, I rolled up my sleeves and I'm like, I'm ready for work again. And everything started drying up again. And I was like, fine, I'm going to listen this time. So it's just a thing like what you said, it's not doing anymore. I mean, it's obviously got to do something. I mean, we do live in this physical world, but I think the more you slow down, the more you physically slow down, it's like you energetically begin to speed up.
It is like that, because also what we need to remember is that the physical body is our densest body. It's always going to catch up late, right? So yes, you first start upgrading your consciousness, and there's that transition period until the body catches up. And in your case, from what you were describing, it sounds like you got so used to being on your masculine, which is the doer. And then you need to balance, and we are all guilty of that, especially any women who has been in the corporate world. Is the conditioning is incredible. It's all about doing and metrics and ticking boxes, and we need to relearn, retrain ourselves to work in flow with the more feminine energy. Of course, having that vision and the clarity that is very masculine, having the goal well defined, but then allowing the how to come in flow.
Yeah.
So listening and allowing, when you feel like doing things, do them, but then coming always from the heart, not because you have to. And that's the big learning that we all need to go through.
It is. And actually, I had this, I guess, insight that something, I don't know, the information, I think, popped to me, but on Saturday morning. And I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Because previously, the reason why I had to do so much to actually accomplish something is that the feminine side of me was like suppressed completely. I just wasn't even trained that way, right? To tap into emotions, feelings. I mean, I grew up in Soviet Russia. You just like, get on with things, there's no time to daydream, there's no time for imagination, you're too much, blah, 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 it's unrealistic. So anyway, there's no judgment, but that's the way it was. So what was then happening is that I would like get a thought in my head, and then my masculine energy would try so hard to work to take the thought and actually make it into something tangible, right? But doing this work over the last year or so, my feminine side began to wake up slowly, and it's speeding up. So now that part of my brain, or part of my energy field, I guess, with the masculine was coming and grabbing all of those thoughts and turning them into something tangible, the feminine started like opening up, and the masculine has no access to it. And that's why everything's paused, because I couldn't grab those ideas fast enough and move them. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I was like, Oh my gosh, that made so much sense to me. So like now it's like almost the nurturing, the birthing period happens until the two are in harmony, are in balance. And when they
Yeah.
are, the ideas don't come from here, they come from the source, they come from from the energy around us, from the field. And then the masculine takes them from the feminine and actually really manifests them rather than push and put effort into things. Does that make sense to
Yeah.
you?
And yeah, but balancing masculine and feminine doesn't mean that you need to be 50-50 all times. You
Right.
are okay to really go very into your feminine, do the creative process, and then move on to your masculine and be in the doing, but coming back to center. So it doesn't mean, I think there's this misconception sometimes that we need to be 50-50 all the
Balance,
time,
yes.
but it doesn't work like that. You are allowed to move fully into one, but then come back. And
Yeah,
then
that makes sense. But I
the
think it's
other
also,
one come back.
for someone who's suppressed that who've never even had access to it, I think it's just like allow yourself to feel into that new emerging side of you, right? Allow yourself to feel that. And I think that's been my biggest pain. It's like, when do I meditate? When do I go to gym? When do I actually work on my business? When do I spend time with kids? When do I clean the house? It was just so much. And I was really struggling to actually figure out, I was literally going from one extreme to next. And now it's just, I mean, yesterday, all I wanted to do was to actually go deeper into my human design, for example. And I literally sat here and I also did a couple of readings yesterday for my clients. And I just sat with human design all day because I went deeper into all of the planetary alignments. I looked into my spiritual purpose. I looked into all the obstacles and blocks. And I was like, that is exactly what I'm moving into, and it was just making so much sense. Whereas previously, I wouldn't have allowed myself that space to really take so much time and get to know me. I would have rushed through it. I would have wrote a post. I would have gone done something else. I would have cleaned the house. But yesterday was like just focused on human design. And I felt like, when I fell into bed at night, I was exhausted, but like really good exhausted.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And that's to me, that's the new way of being. What we are birthing is exactly that, really following that intuitive pull with no agenda, more than because doing something because you feel it, because it's there, because it's in front of you and you want to. And equally, you're going to find that anytime you try to do something that um, you don't resonate with it too much, you're going to just notice that it takes you forever to get it done, to accomplish, and possibly the result won't be there. So it's a very conscious way of being. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how
So
can
people you're
people kind of
listening.
get over this times, with all the upgrades and shifts and energies, and you're feeling all over, you're feeling stuck, and putting effort doesn't work, and it's like,
Are we there
what do we do?
yet?
What do we do?
Well, there's not much you can do. You just need to allow it. And that's what I've been noticing with my clients. A lot of people, let's say 6 months ago, walked away from jobs that they didn't want to do for whatever reason anymore, or relationships, or of a lot of that. And, they just made the hard choice of leaving careers. And now they are like, well, I did it, took that leap of faith, I've done it. And you and I have talked about this before. Where is it? Like, I did it because I trusted this guidance. I followed my soul, and now I'm running out of my savings. What do I do? And unfortunately, the answer that keeps coming back is you just wait. And again, it's this thing of us creating our new life, a new way, a new businesses, a new whatever, energetically, and then waiting for the physical to catch it, to reflect it back to us. And it takes a lot of trust, and it's done by design. It is calling us to go way deeper into ourselves. Why are we rushing from one thing to the next? What are the energetic blocks on the way? What are we trying to not see, trying to keep ourselves busy so we don't look at certain blind spots? All that needs to come to the surface, and especially because it's a collective effort, it's not just individual. we sort of need to wait for everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people to catch up, to reflect the new reality back to us. And it takes a lot of trust and detachment. I feel when we actually reach that point, and maybe that was you with COVID, where you just couldn't care about anything else because you were feeling so bad. You just detach from everything external, and then it's when it comes. So it's doing a lot of work to just trust that all the things that we built energetically are coming, are already there. They just need to manifest in the physical. So keep doing the work, keep looking at ourselves, our blind spots, and not, like we've been saying, don't just do things because it's going to make me money now. It's not going to work. It needs to come from the heart. It needs to come from the soul. It needs to feel lit up. And detach as well, doing it because I really just feel it and don't care if it works or not. And that sweet spot in between is where we need to be for the results to start to come.
Yeah, and it's not easy, right? I mean, the whole art of detachment. So, I mean, I actually was listening to someone recently and they said it's not even about like becoming a vibrational match to what you want to attract, because the fact that you desire it, it means you're already a match, right? Otherwise, you just wouldn't desire that. But what we need to rather figure out, I guess, and work on ourselves is to allow it, right? Because we are blocking it, and we're blocking it with our energy of constant doingness, of constant beingness, of fear, of, I mean, you name it, right? And that's what's blocking that. So it's really, I mean, there is that saying, save the best for last. And I was actually in the shower the other day. I was like, what a stupid phrase. Why would I want to save best for last? I've always been told, save the best for last. Always do like the crappy things first. But actually what we do, we start our day doing crappy things. So our energy is down and the awesome things that we're looking forward to don't even feel that awesome, right? So do things that light you up first, because that will raise your energy, that will raise your vibration. And the things that you don't want to do, first of all, maybe you don't even have to. Can you delegate? And if you have to, you like feeling so amazing, so awesome about, the call you had with the client or the lunch you had with your friends or the walk you had with your kids, that you can actually then tend to those things, and don't feel drained by them. So if anyone listening here, I really do encourage you, don't save the best for last. Do it first thing in the morning. I just had to put it in there.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about that, just being in the moment. It really requires us to just be very present with what's going on within and let go of all the distractions and all the external stuff that doesn't really matter. And it's really a journey within. We can get caught up with when this is going to happen and all this, what's going on and the solar flares and this and that. And it's still a distraction. It's still a distraction because what we're here to do is to get to know ourselves and create from that space.
Absolutely.
That's the new human, I feel.
Absolutely. So just to wrap this up, I know your birthday is coming up, right?
Yeah, next Monday.
Is it today?
No, next Monday.
Oh, next month. Yeah, okay. And you have a special offer. Do you want to share with us your special offer?
Yes, is just offering sessions one-on-one, spiritual guidance and energy healing for $44 less because I'm turning 44. So
makes sense. That's amazing. And then I've got to say, everyone, Marie's absolutely amazing. I had a couple of sessions with you, and I mean, it's just like unblocked me on so many levels. I even remember I messaged you once, when I'm like, I don't know how that happened, but this and this, I couldn't remember, but was something really big happened in my life and it came out of nowhere. And I thought maybe it was a fluke. So the second time we did it and something else like richly happened in my life straight after, I was like, okay. So yeah, no, it's definitely worth a session. So anyways, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. I love that conversation.
Thanks for the invite.
Values to people who listen to it.
Thank you so much, lovely. Good to catch up with you.
Yeah, you're welcome. There's I know there's some Earth, I can't pronounce it. It's so small on my screen, but you're welcome, guys. Welcome to everyone listening, and thank you for your comments. I've seen all of them. I will speak to you soon, Marie. Have a good day.
Catch up soon. Bye.